City Matters.
Welcome back to hmTv. I'm your host, Richard Acritelli, and we're on our third episode with Vietnam veteran Andrew Menechella. We spoke about his early life. We spoke about, in detail, his war experiences, and then some of the challenges that he faced as he came home. So, Andrew, what was your job? You're out of the service. You're a veteran. What's the job that you do?
Well, when I came home, I kept the job with the telephone company. They kept me on the payroll, and I got my salary increases, making about $145 a week living home. So it was good. And I came home to a 7-month strike with the New York Telephone Company, picketed, which was pretty interesting, from the jungle to picketing. And then I
one battle to another. Right?
Yeah, and I had a void in my life. The void in my life was baseball, but I couldn't get into baseball again. They were still after me to go back, and I couldn't do it. So I started playing softball with the phone company, and I made a pretty good reputation playing softball. And then
could you hit the ball a little bit?
Oh, I hit the ball a lot of it. Yeah. I hit in softball. I never batted less than 600. 20, 30 home runs, very good fielder. I wound up playing center field and third base.
So your transition back to civilian life isn't easy,
no.
Right? But your transition from baseball to softball.
Light switch.
Right?
Yeah.
Did that help you out?
Yeah. Well, that was my passion. So I lived my life through, I played 7 leagues. I played football. I played basketball. I was kind of an athlete, but football was actually my best sport.
So does the athletics briefly take your mind off of things?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it got me into continuing in a leadership role, teamwork, all of that stuff. I really held that in high regard, and I liked it. I liked the team approach.
And you had a lot of negative around you.
Oh, big time.
And you're seeing the good in scoring a runner from second.
Absolutely.
Or hitting a big shot.
Yeah,
I
never liked to run track, but I love running from first to third.
Yeah.
That was what throwing a guy out from center field.
Sure.
That
great sense of purpose,
nothing
right?
like it.
Yeah.
That was my life.
Yeah.
Ball was my life. So I had to get back into it. And when I retired, that's another story.
What year is that where you start playing? And where are you at that point?
I played, I was, let's see, I got home and I got married in 73. So that's kind of when I started playing ball again.
And I that's was in Queens?
Ozone Park.
Ozone Park,
I got married in Ozone Park. And then I lived there about 18 years. And then I bought a house in Howard Beach, 2000-ish.
Wow.
And I was working for Citibank at the time.
Was that Cross Bay Boulevard down there?
Yeah, right off Cross Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a nice spot down
Beautiful. There. Yeah. It's right off the canal, which was good until Sandy hit. And I had 11 feet of water in my house.
And then that's not good.
No,
right?
That was another time where I was very concerned. 3 times in my life I was concerned. When Rosemary got sick, Vietnam, and Sandy.
The flooding.
Yeah. So that was tough. But I had.
So now you go from the phone company.
I worked for the phone
for about 10 years.
I worked for the phone company 69 to 79. Then my brother-in-law worked for IBM, and he had an opening as a technician. I didn't know anything about computers, but I was smart enough, and I worked, did a lot of wiring with the phone company.
And it's a solid company.
Yeah,
right?
I took a cut and pay. Took about a $3,000 cut and pay, and I worked in Manhattan.
Which is a lot of money,
yeah,
right?
It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And my wife was questioning it, but I said, I'm not going to climb poles till I'm 60. I'm not doing that.
Just takes once to fall.
Yeah,
that's it,
and
right?
it's you 0 degrees. You're on a pole for 3 hours. It wasn't conducive to
the quality of life wasn't really there.
No.
Right?
Money was great. I was all the overtime I wanted. I made a lot of money.
But you don't survive Vietnam and have many close calls to fall off a pole.
Right.
Right.
Oh, exactly.
So
yeah. So I go to I get a job with IBM, and I worked at IBM for about 10 or 12 years. And then
what do you end up doing with IBM itself?
All IT. I was a technician, and I had covered the World Trade Center 1 and 2. Wow. I had 50 accounts in there. And I was later on at Citibank. I ran the whole service group of all the guys that fixed all the ATMs and card readers and all the Citibank branches.
Which is a huge thing at that time because
huge.
people loved
Yep.
not going to the bank.
Yeah.
Right.
And
you go to 7-Eleven, you go here, you go there.
And I was at a meeting in Lincoln Center branch, and my daughter called me. She said, a plane just hit the Trade Center. I said, what? I said, it had to be a small one, And then, oh my God, a second one hit. So that was. Then I had to walk across town. I was on the west side, Lincoln Center. I had to go over the 59th Street Bridge.
How long did it take you to do that?
Probably about an hour and a half. Just wall-to-wall people.
Thousands of people around.
Thousands. And we're walking over the bridge. So, oh my God, they're going to blow up the bridge. And I jumped up on an abutment on the bridge and just held on to that sucker and looked across the water, and it was all
smoke.
It was very surreal. Then one of my buddies picked me up on the other side and drove me home.
So now you were in Howard Beach at that time?
I was in Ozone Park at that time.
Ozone Park at that time?
Yeah.
Living there?
Yes. I was in my in-laws' house on 100th Street in Ozone Park, right off Rockaway Boulevard. Then they moved to North Carolina. I bought the house and raised the kids. Then we moved to Howard Beach, and then they both got married from there.
And then when do you end up in Quorum?
Oh, what happened was in 2017, actually 2014, Rosemary gets sick. She gets diagnosed with colon cancer. I took her through 2.5 years of cancer. In 2017, she passes away September 15th, 2017. I was her caretaker, of course. I was my mother's caretaker. She died September 10th. So it was like a double whammy.
Tough stretch, right?
Very tough stretch. So I started to drink, and I couldn't deal with it. And
did you drink that much when you came home, or you were just busy? You're starting your family. You're trying to pay the bills.
I
right?
drank,
Here and
beer, in a bar, but no. This I was heavy drinking. Big bottles of Jack. I was drinking one of them a week. My son came over one night. He lived 2 doors down from me. He said, "How's it going, Dad?" I said, "Going great." Yeah. I had my music on, my headphones, a cigar, and my bottle of Jack. And I finished the bottle of Jack. He said, "I got to go pick up the kids. Want me to throw this in recycle?" Throws in recycle. He says, "Come here." There were 4 of them in there. Scared the crap out of me. A good friend of mine, was a deacon at the local church at the St. Mary Gate of Heaven. He said, "You got to talk to somebody, man." He said, I got a good therapist in Wantagh.
Were you drinking because of your wife, your mom, and also Vietnam also?
No, Vietnam had nothing to do with it.
Wow.
Nothing to do with it. I didn't even think about Vietnam. The only time I thought about Vietnam was 4th of July when I ripped my pants diving under a car with the
fireworks.
Fireworks.
Yeah.
What happened was when I first saw the therapist, and I never went to a therapist before, we started talking and it just, I don't know, he put me in a trance or something. We were hypnotized, and all of a sudden Pandora's box opens and PTSD kicks in. I didn't know what PTSD was. And it was very hard. I drank because it was more my wife passing away, not being able to do anything. I'm a fixer, and I can't fix it. All I did was take her to 3 times a week to Sloan Kettering and then she dies. And it's grueling. It's grueling watching her die, and I'm bathing her and dressing her and watching her wither away to nothing until she's gone.
And that's your companion. That's your.
Yeah, it was tough. So about a year later, Lynn had worked for me at Citibank, and she gave me a condolence call, and she said, "I'd like to see you."
And Lynn's your second wife now.
Yes.
Right.
So I put it off. I said, I can't deal with it.
What did she do at Citibank?
She was an administrator in my group. I was a regional manager, so I had like a couple of hundred people.
With the technology?
Yeah, all IT. IT, my whole, and she worked under me, and 2 or 3 layers on it. But we were pretty friendly. She did a lot of work for me. She reaches out with a card, and I said, "Very nice, but I can't deal with it. I just can't deal with it." About 6 months later, I'm coming home at night. I don't cook. I'm going to a restaurant. I'm sitting there 5 o'clock at night. 15 minutes, I'm done eating. Where am I going? I go home, I close the door. It's dark. It's horrible. Loneliness.
The walls started
closing
right?
in. I couldn't deal with it. So I said, well, let me give her a call. I gave her a call. We met. We had coffee, and That was from 2018. We got married 2023. And I'm sorry, December 23rd, 2022. Yeah, 22.
Now,
Got married, and she's my rock.
in between segments, your wife was just so proud of you, and I would imagine many different facets, but the one that she spoke about was the PTSD. And
Yeah. Well, what happens? I didn't know what PTSD was. I didn't know I had it, but I put her through a lot of misery because I would zone out. I never got angry. I didn't have any mean streak. I just would zone out.
your concentration would just be
I'd
elsewhere.
be gone.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'd be.
Yeah.
And I don't know I'd do it. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry. She started getting cranky. And I said, I can't, I don't know. And then we wound up going to the therapist together, and she went to therapy, and then we got through it, and she understands me now.
Now with PTSD, you go through it and it's difficult, right?
Yeah.
But your loved one goes through it as well.
Yeah.
Right?
No doubt. And when I'm alone, even to this day, I'll zone out and I'll go back to Vietnam, going back to watching, buddies die, or just screaming in the village, screaming and burning and smelling and digging up. They wanted body count, so we dug up graves, and they kicked our ass the next day because it was a sacrilege. And the bodies, the smells, and helicopters crashing and the guys burning, and
You don't forget that smell.
no,
Right?
not at all. And I didn't know, and at one point about 15 years ago, I couldn't. The only reason why I knew I was in the Army is because I had a DD-214 termination papers, but I didn't have a card or anything. So I said, let me go to Fort Hamilton and see if I can get a military card.
Sure, yeah.
I go to Fort Hamilton, and they find out I'm from Vietnam. Agent Orange, the bells and whistles start going off. They're screaming.
I was going to ask you that with Agent Orange.
They got to get I get tested, right? I take 6 tests over a course of 2 weeks. All of a sudden, I get a bill, $300, $50 a test they're charging me.
The government.
Yeah, the government.
Yeah.
I freaked out.
Uncle Sam, right?
Uncle Sam, right? So it got me so infuriated, I wanted nothing to do with the VA at all. Now, when I...
Now, what you just said, other veterans, that happened to them, similar things, where they kind of said, all right, I just want to be... I don't want to deal with the government.
Most
right?
of them are like that.
Yeah.
I saw some Saturday at the event
There were guys that had full GI Bill benefits.
Absolutely.
And they didn't want to do any paperwork through the government.
So I didn't do anything either. So now, in 2018, I sell my house. I can't deal with the house anymore. My son is getting divorced at the same time. So I said, we'll get an apartment in Howard Beach, a 3-bedroom, and we'll get through it.
Sure.
So I had the money. He didn't have the money. He's tied up with the family. So we get an apartment, and then I meet Lynn, and he meets somebody over time. And after a year, he said, Dad, would you be opposed to moving to Belmore? He said, there's a beautiful house. I think a mother and daughter. I think we could do something with it.
That's a great area. Right?
Yeah. So I was right off the Southern State, 25N. So I go to see the house. I said, well, it's got some legs. I think we could do it.
What's the address? Because my grandfather lived right off
2430 Cliff Lane.
Yeah, my grandfather was on South Bismarck over there.
Yeah.
You could see the Parkway.
Parkway, yeah. Yeah. 2430 Cliff Lane. So I go look at it, and we go and we move in now. And Lynn comes and moves in with me, and my son has the upstairs, and we made did some construction. It was kind of like a mother and daughter. It wasn't a full mother and daughter. And my son is, at the time, he's in his 40s. So you picture yourself, right, you got a girlfriend, and you're living high on the hog, and he's making a lot of money, and they're having parties all the time. So there's parties over our head, and a big yard, and we come in, and we have to say, excuse me, to get into the apartment.
Yeah, that gets old pretty quick, right?
I could have done it because I made a deal with him.
Yeah.
I gave him money to buy the house, and I was paying almost nothing rent.
Yeah, well.
Right? And I got a good retirement. She can't deal with it. So I said, her sister downsizes from Farmingville, and they go into the Fairfield over 55 place. I said, let's go take a look at it. 1,500 square feet. I love it.
Yeah. Over by Bald Hill?
The clubhouse. Well, it's more, no, it's right off 112 and Pine Road. It's in back of a strip mall where the Corum movie used to be. So I reach out to the realtor. I said, I want a corner apartment with a garage. 3 weeks later, somebody breaks the lease, and now we're in. So now I'm in Coram, and now I'm with my brother, who I really had no relationship with. He's older, and he lived in Miller Place for 40-something years.
Was he was in Vietnam as well?
Yes. But again, he was in a missile battalion. He didn't do much.
Experience is a little different, but he was...
much so. Yeah, he was in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Right? So he said, okay, here's what I want you to do. Next Wednesday, the last Wednesday of every month, we meet at the Rocky Point Diner.
Yeah, sure.
30 Vietnam vets.
Yeah. Richie Ketson, right?
Richie, yeah.
Yeah.
So I go. So I'm sitting there, and then we're talking, we're bullshitting, and the guy says, yeah, I'm getting the first is coming, I'm getting my $2,700. I'm getting my $1,900. Yeah, I'm getting $3,100. I said, what are they talking about? He says, you idiot, this is what I'm telling you. You got to facilitate paperwork.
You got to fill out the paperwork.
You got to do the work.
Yeah.
These guys weren't in the jungle. You were. Yeah. So I said, okay. So he gives me a number. I get in touch with an advocate, and make a long story short, 2.5 years later, I'm 90% with the individual unemployability.
Yeah.
So I'm getting paid for 100%, but I get all the bennies. And it's pretty significant.
Which is important later on in life.
Yes.
Because you're on fixed income.
Yeah.
You're living on Long Island. You want to do things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we like to travel. And now she gets Champ VA from the VA as a supplement. And I get free dental and medical. I still have a supplement plan that I pay for because it takes a while to get an appointment.
Sure.
At the VA. But free dental and...
That's a great meeting with those guys because they could guide you through it.
Yes.
They knew kind of the pitfalls and everything else.
Absolutely.
So, and Richie Kitson is...
Yeah, they're a great bunch of guys.
Mel Cohen, Frank. Mel and Frank, they were here.
Were they?
Did great jobs. It was...
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and...
So great bunch of guys, and they all belong to the VFW,
yeah.
6249. My brother said, you got to join. So I joined, and now I'm starting to get involved with the VA.
Yeah.
My brother and his best friend, Ray's there at the vet's home about 6 years. My brother's 19 years. So I said, now that I'm getting treated well, and I went on the honor flight, and it changed my whole perception of reality.
Who did the honor flight? Do you remember?
What do you mean, who?
Was it, we had him here for honor flight.
Yeah.
William, Billy, no?
Yeah, I think Bill. Bill sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah.
This was out of MacArthur.
Yeah.
Right? So I went, and it was all pomp and circumstance.
Bill Donahue.
Yeah,
he was sitting in your chair there.
All pomp and circumstance, and I really was lifted. And I said, I gotta give back. So I reach out to the gal in charge of volunteers, Samantha Calandrino at the vet's home. She said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to work with vets. I wanted the guys that are having trouble, guys that don't get visitors. So I got a group of 4 or 5 guys, and Russell Graham, 99, very cognitive aware, and he was on a destroyer, sinking submarines with depth charges. Went to 15 islands during World War II.
Very dangerous stuff, right?
He's whipping out these 15. I was in Okinawa, Hiroshima. I said, holy crap! He remembered everything, and he said, somebody took my harmonica. He plays the harmonica. So I'm going to buy him a harmonica. $66. He had to get a special harmonica. So I'm ready to order it. At the same time, I'm talking to Doc Bob Johnson at the vet's home. He's 93, doctor, private, and all through the service. And he wants to know about the religion 1,000 years ago, Eastern and Western religion. So I Google it, and I buy him a book. So I bring him the book. He's ecstatic. Friday. Monday, I go see him.
Are you talking about the Byzantines? And,
yeah. He's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
What do you mean he's not with us anymore? He passed away. So I was pretty taken back. And then 3 weeks later, Russell passes away. And Samantha says, you can't get close to these guys. I said, how do you not?
Kind of goes full circle from Vietnam.
Well,
right?
it's secular, right? So you got the World War I guys are gone. World War II guys are going to be gone. You got Korean War, Vietnam. Korean War is going to be gone. Then it's going to be us. We're going to be the 90-year-olds.
You look at the Gulf veterans are now 35, 40, 45
Absolutely.
years old now.
Yeah. So
Does that strike like a chord with you, like where you remembered you were the young guy, you were the green guy,
yeah,
and then you
took
ended
my
up...
turn. Yeah, I was a green guy. Now I'm an old guy.
Yeah.
I'm one of the older guys, and I'm still pretty patriotic.
What was a way that you used to cope with that in the veterans home? Is there a way of coping with it?
Yeah. Speaking to like individuals, there's a couple of guys that I have that are pretty bad PTSD, and they're in the vets home. They have service dogs, but it's a state home. They can't bring the service dogs there, so they're not flourishing. So
Can they bring them when they sit outside?
Yeah, they can bring them. They can bring them in the place too, but they can't stay.
Wow.
And some of these service dogs, these guys are dependent on them.
You ever think the state down the road has like a little kennel or something?
Well, here's the deal. So I took exception to that, and I became an advocate for service dogs, and I put together a business plan for the vets home to do it. And Samantha said, it's a state facility, and they're not gonna bite. And I said, well, you're going to lose a tributary of revenue in the future because most of the dogs are with not the Vietnam vets, but the Afghanistan,
sure,
the
Iraqi, yeah.
And you're going to lose a tributary of revenue. I said, you have the land. I said, I'll help you. I'll be the advocate. I'll do whatever I got to do. And I have a business plan, and I set up meetings, and Samantha said, it can't work.
Do you think something down the road will come of it?
It's got to.
Yeah.
It's got to. And I was at the...
That's kind of like the evolution of veterans care.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You start down here, where you receive nothing.
Sure.
And the guys before and after you didn't receive anything, and then it's starting to come up now.
So we had the vets outing. We had the vets home. What do you call it?
The golf outing.
The golf outing that Lynn and I both worked at. So we met some gal there, Jerry McGrady. You know her? She's at Stony Brook and also in the vets home. And she said, "Why don't you have a service dog?" Because she was telling her about my PTSD. You need a service dog, especially if you want to be an advocate. So I'm in the hopper for a service dog.
Right now?
Yeah. I just filled out all the paperwork.
All right, so we're going to have you come back because we're going to talk about your book.
Okay.
So in the summertime, we'll have you come back, and you can think about different things to speak about, right? You watch the segments a couple of times. We'll touch on things that you didn't speak about, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot.
And we'll bring the dog in, and you'll have the experience now with the dog for a couple of months.
Yeah. Hopefully.
And you could talk about, right, the strengths, the weaknesses,
absolutely.
the dog's getting used to you, you're getting used to the dog.
I mean, these dogs are pretty,
right?
Do you know much about the dogs?
A little bit. My best friend was in Iraq that I served with, and he went from the Army band, and they recalled into his original MOS, which was 88 Mike, Transportation Logistics.
Transportation.
And he's got a service dog, and
Flourishing.
Yeah, he loves the dog.
The dog's amazing.
Yeah.
This dog, Hank, this guy Hank that I have in my group, the service dog, he's a PTSD dog, so they get 6 months of extra training. It's 18 months of training. If he has nightmares a lot at night, the dog will get up where he is, hits him with his snoot until he sits up.
Nudges him, right?
Nudges him, but he's got to be sitting up or he won't stop nudging. Then in the morning, he worked a deal with the post office. Post office beeps the horn. He puts the mailbag in the dog's mouth. He goes out.
Amazing.
Mailman puts the big, comes back in. He's got a rope on the door, and the refrigerator door. He wants a beer. The dog opens the thing, gets the beer, closes the refrigerator door.
Just amazing,
It's
right?
amazing.
Right?
And the guys need it. And they're not, and they go to a vet's home for either rehab or they're not going to.
And this is really like corny to say, but it's really man's best friend.
Man's best friend. And I have a whole new appreciation of it since I got involved with the vet's home. I want to do so much more.
Do you know what kind of dog you might be getting?
I want a female doodle, like a Labradoodle or whatever.
Very well tempered.
Very well tempered. Yeah, those. The Labradors and the Retrievers and the Shepherds are the smartest dogs.
Sure.
Those are the ones that they use. And I'm hoping to get a female, and I'm hoping to get Katie. I named her already.
Oh, you've already seen the dog, right?
No.
That's what you're gonna. But that's
what
when
I
you
want.
get the dog.
If I get a chance to put my order in, if you will.
Yeah.
It's going to be a Labradoodle and it's going to be Katie.
Just a matter of time, whether it's
Yeah,
tomorrow
no, it's
or
inevitable.
a couple months.
And Lynn is over the moon because she wants a dog. So
yeah, it's a new member of the family, and
absolutely.
It's
and when their vests are on, the service dog, they're working. When their vests are off, he's a dog. They'll chase whatever when they serve.
But it's amazing they go to that transition, right?
18 months of training.
Yeah,
18 months of training, and it's about $50,000 to train a dog.
And that's paid for.
It's all paid for by mine was American Vet Dogs. There's also Paws of War, of course. There's 2 or 3 of them. They pay for everything.
And it's all donations. It's amazing, right?
It is amazing, and it's a godsend to guys who need it. Some guys, we have a couple of guys at the vets home at the VFW have them. We meet the second Tuesday of first Tuesday of every month and. Wednesday, I'm sorry. And he brings the dog, and the dog comes in. Just all they do is go down.
There's a lot of bad things within society, right? You see a lot of crazy things and stuff in the news, and you're driving along Middle Country Road and you shake your head, right?
Yeah, all the time.
Right? But there's also a lot of good things.
There is a lot of good things.
And like the program you just spoke about, like
it's amazing.
Look, your face lights up.
Yeah.
Your wife's face lights up.
Yeah.
You're starting to plan probably certain things, right?
We need more of that.
Yeah.
We need more of that because we're pretty broken. Country's pretty broken.
But on the glass half full side of it, people are paying for this stuff. People that you don't know.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And money's hard to come by.
Money is hard to come by.
Very difficult to come by.
But as I work in the vet's home and I go to the events and I work with the guys and I see people coming in, it's amazing.
Amazing, right?
It's a whole different stratosphere. And I want to be a part of it. I want to get more involved. I want to donate my uniform, my Vietnam uniform, to the museum.
Yeah. We're expanding that.
I know you are.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, and I
and even with that, what I say with the Paws of War, people help out.
Yeah.
With those organizations, right? With the museum, you need luck from people to come out of left field and say, all right, we're going to give you X amount of dollars, or we're going to donate services, and that's really the good in all of it.
Yep. But I see more of it now. It's more prevalent. The VA exploded. It's more prevalent now, the support, than I've ever seen or ever used to. And I have a whole different
and there was things like that might have been there in the 70s and 80s that were not publicized.
Yeah.
You found out by mistake. Look at it. You go to a diner.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you guys talking about?
Another Joe Sledge from the VA?
Yeah. I saw him yesterday. Yeah.
Right. So Joe and I were sitting next to each other at the event, and he was talking about
great guy.
Great guy. He's got a couple of guys that he turned me on to because I want to publicize benefits. I went on a website for 2 hours. I'm pretty good on a PC. I don't know what the hell they were talking about. Too confusing. I don't know. I don't know.
They have to streamline it and make it.
They got to streamline, and it's got to be proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah.
I met a guy that.
What do they say in the military? If you don't use it, they'll take it away.
Absolutely.
But it can't be like that.
No. But you put in paperwork and they deny you.
Yeah. And you got to do it 5 times.
You get frustrated,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But I was persistent, and I wound up hitting a home run. But I was persistent, and I want to say embellished, but I really got into the doctor's visits.
Well, if that's part of the process, and that's what you have to do,
what
right?
Had to be.
Yeah,
I did what I had to do because I'm a fixer. So
sure. All right, we're gonna come back for a 4th episode. I think this is gonna be my 70th episode since January, and it's a good feel to have Andrew here and talk about his experiences and some of the positives as well of his military service and his life after being in uniform. So come back, and we're going to be talking about a project that he's currently doing right now.